Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we are looking at Justice League No Justice issue 1 of 4. This is a weekly mini-series from DC and focuses on the results of Dark Knight's Metal. Now, I'm very hesitant to pick these up because of the disappointing ending that Dark Knight's Metal had. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. So you can imagine my trepidation when picking these up. That's why I'm a week behind on them. But I picked up 1 and 2 today. The colors are weird. I don't like the color scheme. It's too pastel. And that was another turnoff. I was like, they all look kind of goofy. The storyline starts off at the source wall with a bunch of Green Lanterns looking at it and Guy Gardner whining that the Justice League broke it. And then we cut over to Earth where the Justice League, the Titans, and the Teen Titans are being attacked by Brainiac, and he captures them all very easily, which is a little disappointing for them. Instead of killing them, he has a plan. He takes them onto a ship. They're given different costumes, which, as Beast Boy says, is definitely next level creepy. And he starts to explain what's going on. There are these 4 Omega Titans that are known throughout mythology of the universe, that they infuse each planet with the different things like wisdom, entropy, wonder, and mystery, which explains the team formations that are going to come up later. And thankfully that makes it only slightly less stupid, but I understand it better now, okay? So then we get the introduction of some villains that are going to be on the teams as well. And it turns out Amanda Waller has abducted a whole bunch of psychics so that they could hack into Brainiac's mind while he's explaining all of this. Well, the heroes and villains have a brief skirmish until they get to the planet Colu, which is Brainiac's homeworld, and they see the first Titan, which is Wisdom, and it's going to eat the Earth. Well, Brainiac has left the seeds of destruction on Earth so that the Titans will go there next if they fail to save his planet, and they get one shot at it, and that's really it. And they gotta follow his plans down to the wire. Unfortunately, Amanda Waller's plan to steal all of Brainiac's knowledge literally blows up in their face. And right as he's explaining the plan, bad stuff happens. This was a shockingly good issue. I had a lot of fun reading it. I thought it was really well done. It's written by Scott Snyder and James Tynion IV and Joshua Williamson, with art by Francis Manapul. It was really good. It was very fast paced. There's a lot of talking, but it's plot explanation. Colors were by Hi-Fi, letters by Andworld Design, cover by Francis Manapul. The only thing I don't like about the cover is the pastels. Otherwise, it's okay. The interior art's pretty good. I think the faces are drawn a little too manga style for my taste, but it's good for modern comics. I don't know why Cyborg looks so much like Iron Man in this, and they've changed Adam's costume to look too much like the TV show, and I hate that costume. But Dr. Fate looked really cool. Otherwise, I thought the art was passable. Not spectacular, definitely not my favorite, but it's fine. It's got a unique look to it that I think more people, younger people specifically, are going to like more than I did, but I thought it was serviceable. The storyline was good so far. I was impressed with that. Beyond that, I would recommend this. I don't want to give too much away, it'll ruin it, but I think it's worth reading, and I was glad I picked it up. I don't feel cheated out of my $4. I don't like that I have to read all of them in a month, though. That's a lot of money in 1 month. A few minor complaints, but overall I thought it was a pretty fun story so far. And it had a twist ending I didn't really expect, but that'll do it for this one. As always, thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. Please be sure and hit like and subscribe if you liked the video, and be sure and pass it around to other people that you know that might be interested. If you hated the video, share it with your enemies, and don't forget the Patreon link is in the description below. And that'll do it. As always, thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next one. Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we are looking at Justice League No Justice issue 2. This is by Snyder and Tynion. And we start out with Amanda Waller down in the Arctic somewhere, in the Arctic Circle, a couple miles from the Fortress of Solitude. And she's stopped by Green Arrow. Then we jump over to the planet Colu, where the heroes are trying to complete their mission while being besieged by the locals. And they have to go to the different trees as the designated teams to try and keep the giant Titan prevent things from attacking and destroying the planet. So there's the Tree of Entropy, Tree of Wonder, Tree of Mystery, and Tree of Wisdom. And each is grown around different areas, and they need to bring one down and bring the others up. So they have to cause chaos, they have to bring magic back, make everybody dumber, I guess. Stuff like that. Well, the gang is doing that and having a little sidetrack. There's a lot of internal strife about who does what goes where, that sort of thing. There's like little planets in bottles like Candor is. Meanwhile, Batman's team is trying to free a bunch of prisoners. Beast Boy has to man up and join the fray. That's actually a pretty good interaction. And then we learn that Amanda Waller's down there because that's where one of the seeds is for the planet. It's some information she got from the Brainiac files when she and her psychics effectively annihilated Brainiac. And Green Arrow apparently is one of the only heroes left standing because whatever Brainiac did when he abducted the others knocked out a bunch of the superheroes and probably some villains, and they're kind of in like a stasis. She has to work with Green Arrow to kind of resolve things because she needs an ally too. Even though almost all of this is entirely her fault. I do not know why somebody hasn't killed her yet. And then at the end we get a surprise return of a popular older villain from the Silver Age. So overall, pretty good issue. It's not great, but it's not terrible either. I can't say I hate it. The art's okay. The storyline is okay, but it's not super memorable. It's not jumping out and grabbing my attention. It's an interesting concept, but the Avengers are kind of doing the same thing right now, and it's garbage over there. This is at least more entertaining. So I'm hoping issue 3 will kind of pick up a little bit. It really feels like these are just setup books because I know they're going to do other Justice League chapters effectively later, and it really feels like that's all this is. And it reminds me a lot of a better version of the Total Justice miniseries, and that's about it. This could have been a better storyline, I think, if they had done it in the Justice League book as a longer story. This is one of the rare times that I'll say that they need to do a longer story, but I think that it probably could have been a longer story and much more detailed. As it stands now, it's just kind of mediocre. So this was done by Scott Snyder, James Tynion IV, and Joshua Williamson, Francis Manipul and Marcus Tau artists. Hi-Fi did the colors. Andwell Design did the letters. Francis Manipul did the breakdowns and cover. Andrea Shea was assistant editor. So it's an okay book. Was it worth $4? I don't think so. Would I recommend it? Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's a tepid recommendation. I'm not going to say run out and buy this now. I've read worse. I've read worse this week. I don't know. I suppose I would recommend it if you're a diehard Justice League fan. I'm not real impressed with it overall, but it's not bad. I think I'm a little tired of these constant team-ups with heroes and villains or people switching sides, all that crap. It's a little tiresome. Just get back to heroes being heroes. So I'm going to say if you're thinking about picking up a Marvel book, pick up this instead. It's going to be better. That's my opinion. As always, thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you like what we're doing here, hit the like button and consider subscribing, and we hope to see you on the next one. Hello, and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we're looking at Justice League No Justice issue 3. Our heroes start off trying to figure out what's going on. Martian Manhunter and Starro are trying to figure out how to free these little planets that are captured in there. We also learn that Starfire's homeworld is among them. Meanwhile, Team Entropy are at the Tree of Entropy arguing with the prisoner that their uniforms were leading them to. And we get a little bit more with Green Arrow and Amanda Waller. Waller's being an idiot. She's just borderline evil with her zealotry. Green Arrow has to stop her. Meanwhile, Wonder Woman's able to get the Tree of Wonder restarted through her magic lasso? They're really losing the plot on this one. Team Wisdom has Cyborg hooking into a tree with his mother box, trying to make the world dumber or something. And they take an apple off a tree, which I thought was some girl's job. And then there's a spider on my comic book. Then we've got the League deciding to just directly attack the Titan. I'm not real clear on why that even happened. And Starro gets the idea to jump on its face, and they all retreat, things do not end well for anyone. And as you might guess, the Earth trees take seed and begin rising out of Star Labs, the Tower of Fate, Fortress of Solitude, and Belle Reve. The Titans have arrived at Earth. Now, I thought this issue was a little rushed, and it was jumping around so much it was a little distracting, and I think it really watered down the story. My problem isn't that the story was silly. I mean, it was fun. I didn't hate it. I just thought it was kind of weak, and if you didn't read the first two books, you're definitely not going to know what's going on. This is written by Scott Snyder, James Tynion IV, and Joshua Williamson, with art by Riley Rusmo and Marcus II, colors by Hi-Fi, and World Design did the letters, and Francis Manpool did the breakdowns and cover. Now you're seeing the cover, and it's better than the interior art. I don't really know how to feel about this issue. It does further the plot, but the art is horrifically bad. It is terrible, terrible art. Everybody's misshapen. About halfway through, when we get to Team Mystery, they actually don't look too bad. It almost looks like that's a different artist. But most of this art looks incredibly rushed. There's a lot of lack of detailing in it. It looks lazy. It's either lazy or rushed, I can't decide. But overall, I thought the characters were handled well, except Starro. I don't like how he talks like a surfer now, calling everybody these weird, goofy slang words. So I don't care for that. But otherwise, I thought the characters were in character for the most part. But it felt really rushed. I don't know. It just, the whole thing looked like it was done in a hurry, like a bad homework assignment that was due in the morning. So I think it needed a little more fine tuning, maybe expand it to 5 issues. What actually would have made me happier with this story is because there's so many people in flux. Do a 5-part series, 1 issue where you build up to what's going on, and 1 issue devoted to each of the teams then. That would have, I think, been better than the way this kind of hurriedly flows through, because it really seems like there's a lot of jumping around. But overall, I still didn't feel upset about it. It's not $4 good, but it was worth reading. It's setting up a lot of what's going to be coming in the next year or so, which if they're going to do it like this, probably isn't going to last much more than a year. But that's just my opinion. As always, thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you like what we're doing here, please consider subscribing and hitting the like button, and we hope to see you on the next one. Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we are looking at Justice League No Justice Issue 4. This is the final part of the 4-part miniseries that is setting up the new Justice League book for 2018. The Omega Titans have made their way to Earth. Green Arrow has managed to get a hold of Hal Jordan, who is at the Source Wall, and our Justice League members are outside of the ruins of Colu. They figure out how to jumpstart Brainiac's ship, no thanks to the person they rescued, and they were able to do it by using the mother box. Now, obviously, this is the last part, and it's written by Scott Snyder, James Tynion IV, and Joshua Williamson. Artist and cover was Francis Manpool, colors by Hi-Fi, letters by And World Design. The group editor was Marie Javins. Now, the Green Lanterns show up on Earth because the villain of the book, Brainiac's associate, has started to accelerate the growth of the trees, especially the entropy tree, but the Justice League shows up just in time to remove these devices that are making the trees grow. Then they are somehow feeding the tree to create a seed, which they then pass around and do some interpersonal dialoguing, and oh my gosh, I need to channel my emotions and think of this and fill the seed with that. So like Wonder Woman gets the seed to fill it with wonder, and John Jones gets the seed to fill it with mystery, and then Deathstroke gets it to fill it with entropy, and it's really this kind of meta narrative that's really kind of stupid. It's this weird foo-foo high imagination thing that is some sort of feel-good kind of thing. Well, then Green Arrow loads this construct that Green Lantern creates with the seed and shoots it into the Entropy Titan, which makes the other Titans eat him, and then they just wander off, because the seed is what they're really after. And then they blather on a lot, using the word justice as much as possible. The source wall is still broken, but the Lantern Corps is out there trying to fill in the gaps or something. And Batman forms an outsiders team with Black Lightning as their leader to cover the things outside that the Justice League can't handle or whatever. I don't know. It's set up for another new book. And then Green Arrow is given a special little keepsake box by Martian Manhunter so he could take down the League, which they all had a problem with Batman having previously, and Batman's infinitely more qualified. Apparently some stuff had happened in Green Arrow Annual 2 that set that hippie up to be some sort of super hardcore reliable guy now. And then they kind of putter through cheap introductions to these new books. There's going to be the Odyssey book, which has Cyborg, Jessica Cruz, Green Lantern, Azrael, and Starfire, and I think Darkseid. And then there's going to be Justice League Dark, which has, I think, Man-Bat, Zatanna, Wonder Woman, Swamp Thing, and Detective Chimp. And the regular Justice League, which has Wonder Woman, Batman, Flash, John Stewart, Green Lantern for diversity, Hawkgirl for diversity, Aquaman, Superman, and Batman are, of course, the big guns, so they have to be in the book. I guess Martian Manhunter might be in it, too, as, like, the group leader or whatever. I don't know, this book was dumb. Some of the writing was really hackneyed. Like, I don't really care to see Green Lantern calling someone bro. That was kind of weird. The writing is very, very casual. Like, Robin refers to Batman as father, which is really stupid. Hal Jordan uses his name in front of Lex Luthor. I don't understand why they can't stick to their superhero names when they're in uniform. I don't get that. I think that's kind of lazy writing to think that the villains aren't going to pick up on their names eventually. Overall, I thought this book was a really weak conclusion to a story, but it's a really weak story overall anyway. I thought this was just one of those books they had to throw together real quick to try and come up with an excuse to form a new team on the Justice League. And since they're breaking Justice League up into 3 or 4 books, they want to be able to sell more titles, and this is like a toy tie-in in that respect. So it's just an excuse to sell other titles. It felt lazy, it felt rushed. The art's only okay, it's passable, functional, but not great. I didn't think it was professional level, honestly. I thought it was kind of lazy. The cover looks pretty good, but the rest of the book was all around very mediocre. From the art to the writing, it was very mediocre, very simplistic and rushed. I didn't care for it. So I'm gonna say don't bother with the whole mini-series. It just really didn't do it for me. But that'll do it for this episode. As always, thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. Be sure to hit like and consider subscribing so you don't miss an episode, and we hope to see you on the next one.